Why? Why spend 30 days alone, or 2 weeks, or 7 weeks on a getaway, or in your comfortable home? Why? What does it do? Is there any science behind it? Of what can you expect? Is this going to be exactly the smooth ride that you imagined, or the intimidating experience that you fear? The best way to show you the science behind this and what to expect is through my own experience the first time I traveled alone for 2 weeks, unplanned, because a friend cancelled the last moment. I ended up deciding to go ahead with it and ended up in Paris, where few people spoke English other than the tourist places, where I was sick for the first couple of days, where I was wondering in the first few days, what am I doing here by myself? There's no one to talk to. People don't understand my language. I'm not used to this. And why did this change? On the third and fourth day, the feeling in my mind started to change. There was a change in my brain that I experienced. Moments of joy, calm, serenity, peace, happiness, excitement. Where were these coming from and why? To the point where towards the end of the trip, I was hooked. And thereafter, I made many trips regularly by myself. And it also turned out that I met more people traveling alone than I ever did traveling with someone else. And it doesn't have to be travel, by the way. If your calling is to spend that time in the quiet and peace of your home, well and good. What was the science behind that change that happened in my mind? When you step into that from a stressful routine, a very busy routine, times of difficulty, prolonged stress, trauma, your brain is running on cycles of stress hormone releases, which are seriously damaging your body and your brain. And if that goes on, you will pay for it later on with your health and well-being. But it becomes a habit in those times. Have you ever noticed when you step away from a stressful period, you notice that you are now in a habit of this and you can't step out of it. And this is what happened to me in the first few days of that trip, when I was wondering, what am I doing here? This is not what I like. This is not how I like to spend my time. I'm not enjoying this. Those stress hormone releases in your brain, adrenaline, cortisol, they are damaging your sensors, your receptors every day. And as time passes on, they become more and more damaged. Yet they're addicted to any drug. And yes, you can be addicted to natural drugs that your own brain releases, called hormones. Good hormones, good for you. Bad hormones, bad for you. But as days go by, on my third and fourth day, I started to experience a change. What was this change? When the brain steps into a calmer routine, notices that the habit it has developed is for a certain environment and situation, and the environment and situation has changed for the better. It struggles for the first few days, but then starts to change that cycle. It detects no need for adrenaline, cortisol releases, because there isn't any stress anymore. And when you are in that kind of a stress habit, we're irritable, we are short-tempered. It can become actually irritating to travel with someone. Why? Because your brain is trying to tell you that it needs its own routine. It cannot tolerate being pushed around. It wants something else, and people with you want something else. And this is what you get a release from in time alone. And when the brain detects that it has the ability now to communicate to you what it needs for its healing, there is a mode switch. What is that mode switch? Because usually you are telling the brain, your mind, what you need from it. Every day your routine, every day your pressures, every day your deadlines, the struggles, or when you travel with friends, it's a busy routine. Do this, do that, do that, do this. And you make your mind do what you need. Whereas when you give this time of flexibility alone with yourself to your brain, it gets a chance to talk back to you through the feelings you feel, the urges, the callings. And after a few days, the brain, seeing there is no need for stress hormones, stops the release of stress hormones. The first thing that takes place of those hormones is serotonin. And you start to feel calm because the environment is calm and in your control. Your brain talks to you as in, what does it feel like doing now? What does it feel like doing in this moment and that moment? And you are thoroughly in charge. There is no one else to answer to. There is no one else to accommodate. And you can follow what you feel like doing, how you feel like spending your time. And the next stage, after you've comfortably fall into calmness and peace, is the stage of dopamine releases. When the brain, seeing that there is no stress, there is no urgency, there is no crisis, there is no pressure, experimenting with peace lasting for a few days, it sees that now it can experience joy comfortably. And you start to have dopamine releases. And that's when you start to feel a certain joy rise inside you, a certain feeling of surreal happiness, of moments of excitement, little things giving you pleasure, and little things come to your mind that you feel like doing, that give you that pleasure. Be it even sitting in a cafe, sipping tea calmly, watching people, you start to feel this joy come out. And this is what I experienced towards the end of that trip. And I realized the process of healing happens when you do this. The process of stepping into a life of joy happens. And what is that like? And after that, I became hooked. Half my trips, half my times away or at home were focused on being by myself. Now your mind knows what to expect. Let it take away the anxiety, the uncertainty, the fear of making a plan to spend time alone. The longer, the better, until you feel bored, want some company, go attend some social events. There are plenty on social media. Wherever you are, go call up your friends. But your mind will tell you. However, you have to go through this process with patience to let your mind reach that point first of calmness and then of joy. So, align your life for this experience soon and go do it. If you watched this because you're ready for a different kind of life, then watch my next video. The link will pop up at the end of this video. Like this video? Then please click on like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Wisdom Dive. And don't forget to click the bell icon.